Hey guys, this is Carla, and this time I'm here with a review for episode 19 of season 2 of the CBS show Scorpion. This episode is titled The Ticker, and okay, so when this episode started, first off, I have to say I love just the idea of the Scorpio Olympics. I laughed so much, but I can totally see that as something they would do, like whenever they're bored. And it's kind of hilarious, like really Toby cheating and Sylvester being like all frozen by nerves and whatever. I thought that was really, really fun and something I absolutely see them do whenever they get bored. So when this episode started and they had the Scorpio Olympics and Walter was like, nope, I have to work. Work is the most important thing in the world, blah, 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 that sort of thing. I immediately thought, oh wait, this is going to be another episode where Walter, takes the lessons he learns, processes them, and then ends up saying that 2 + 2 is 5, emotionally speaking, I mean. Because usually he gets the lesson, he understands it, and then he thinks about it and ends up interpreting it a whole different way, and the completely wrong way for most of us, people who understand emotions, I guess, or are more in tune with our emotions. So I was like all ready to once again just be angry at Walter, because that seems to happen very often on this show. And I was like, man, after all he went through with his sister dying and everything, they were again doing the whole thing where they take 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and Walter going back to thinking work is the most important thing in his life and emotions are a waste of time. When, we already went through right after Megan died, right? Because that was the whole point of her death. That was the morality of the story. So I was all ready to be angry at Walter, but then the episode turned out to be something completely different. And I actually really liked it. I think it reminded me a lot of that episode in season 1 where the little kid got trapped on like a fissure, or like there was he was in the beach and he was trapped in a fissure in the rock and stuff like that, and they all have to go in and save them. And it was a very excruciating episode to watch, that one. But it was also one of the best episodes the show has had so far, and very memorable. And especially one where the whole team got to work, and you knew that they were willing to do the impossible for this one kid. And I liked this one a lot because of it. I appreciated more the fact that it didn't take, they didn't have to make me feel claustrophobic in order to teach me this lesson. But I really do think that Walter is generally at his best when he's trying to save little children. He seems to have this connection with little children, and I thought the way they even for somebody who's so intellectually superior, he actually does seem to bond with children really well, even though he might not think so. But he gets them in a way. He gets their simplistic viewpoint in that sense, and he tries to adjust to it. And I think they did a good job of finding something in this little girl to relate to Walter. You know what I mean? Like, just the fact that she was different because her heart was different is not quite the same as Walter, but you can sort of see the thread there of him thinking, well, I'm different from everybody else because my brain is different, and that keeps us away from people and leaves us unable to, relate to others, because we can't do the things that they do. We can't go out, we can't play, we can't interact with people normally. So I thought they did a very good job of putting that thread together. And that little girl was so adorable. Just so adorable. Seriously, I really liked her. I wanted to pinch her cheeks every time she was there. So it made me feel really emotional, just the idea that she might not survive. I knew she was going to survive because this is Scorpion, okay? They generally don't end their episodes on a downer note. So I knew she would survive, but just the idea that she had to go through all of that, and the poor mother. I mean, bad enough that the kid needs a heart transplant, and then they have to go and face all this BS at the moment that the transplant is taking place. So, I really felt for them, and I was all up for Team Scorpion saving the day this time around, so I was really invested in it. I also like that all of them really did pretty much help, in a way. I think maybe Happy was the one who didn't really get much to do this time around, but I loved how they used Toby. I mean, obviously, this whole profiling thing, everything that Toby does is going to seem like a stretch because it's so, profiling is such an inexact science in a way, so of course it just felt like he was taking leaps and leaps and leaps, but I like that they had him, there to actually figure things out. I did think, it was kind of an obvious result. Not that I could have figured out who Wilcup was, because they didn't even mention it until like one scene before they actually revealed it was him. But it's one of those things where you think, maybe it's the people making the vaccines actually spreading the virus, right? I think it's a plot that has been used so many times in the past that you kind of expect it by now. I did, however, like Happy's, I really liked Happy's quote where she's like, so it's not terrorism, it's just capitalism. I was like, that was fantastic. Happy had the best lines in this episode, honestly. I mean, she didn't do much, like, mechanics-wise, but she had the best lines. And when they were in the press conference and Toby was like, okay, Happy, we need to make the man comfortable, we need to make him relax, so we have to try and be soft and gentle with him, so basically, don't be yourself. And Happy's like, I would be offended if that weren't true. She had the best lines ever in this episode. And, even Paige, she didn't actually participate necessarily. She didn't help solve the algorithms or anything, but she was good in kind of putting things together, because Walter would say something and I wouldn't kind of reach the conclusion that he was implying until Paige explained it. So I think she was kind of doing her job very well in translating between Walter and his audience, which is us. So I really liked it, and I liked that in the end the whole team were together, just waiting for the little girl to actually come out of surgery. I thought that was adorable, really. I don't really get the thing about the lawyer. Like, it's like going to try to, like, claim that he's being rejected because he's too smart or something, and that's the basis of his lawsuit. I don't know what's coming, but I hope Sly makes a lot of money. That's all I want, because I really want him to get his wish of, naming the hospital wing after Megan. I think that's adorable, and this entire thing was really great. The only thing that really, the whole thing really does feel like a stretch, obviously, because it's such an impossible situation for, like, all factors to actually converge to make this situation the worst possible thing that could happen to this poor little girl ever. But the only part where I really this is a bit too much, was the whole, jumping on top of the truck thing. I do have to say, though, that as soon as Dr. Bennett was her name, Dr. Bennett mentioned that the blood was leaving on a truck and that they wouldn't be able to get it back for 96 hours. I was like, okay, so they're going to hijack the truck. And then, 3 or 4 scenes later, Walter basically uses the exact same line I just said. So I was like, yes, I was really cheering, because I'm like, yes, hijack the truck, let's do it. The whole thing about them, jumping on top of the truck without the driver actually noticing was kind of a bit of a stretch, and especially since it was Walter of all people. Again, this complaint that they're going to... you have, in the same episode, you're saying that somebody is not a sporty person, right? In this case, Walter. I mean, he couldn't even throw the damn bag. Come on. You're basically saying that he's not sporty, which is basically what Happy said. It's like, we're not worried about your calculations. We're worried about the fact that you suck at sports. And then you have him jumping over, crossing over a very unstable ladder in order to get into a truck. Which, by the way, how the heck did he get into? Like, do those things have, like, trapdoors on the ceiling or something? I don't even know. But it was kind of weird because we've already established that he's not very physically able, in the sense that he doesn't do sports, he doesn't, like, run, he's not necessarily the most sporty person, and yet you have him pulling an Indiana Jones and actually jumping off of a moving truck. So that kind of thing is like, okay, you try to make him a genius, don't try to make him Indiana Jones. That sort of thing does bother me. But apart from that, the episode was actually really good. I really enjoyed it. It was adorable. I do hope that they stick with Walter learning his lesson this time around and don't just have him back to thinking that work is the only important thing in the world in like 3 episodes. Please don't. But other than that, I really liked the episode. I thought it was very sweet. I liked the way the team came together to support this little girl. Yeah, for the most part, I didn't really have any problems. I quite enjoyed it. So, yeah, that's about it for me today. As usual, be sure to visit our website at thegeekypub.com. We not only have reviews for the previous episodes of Scorpion, but also for other TV shows, books, movies, games. We have a ton of stuff in there, so be sure to visit and check it out. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that is the fastest way to be notified whenever we upload any new reviews. Most of the time, before they hit the website, they are up on YouTube. So if you don't want to miss anything, then be sure to subscribe. And that's it from me today. I will see you guys in my next review. Bye.